we locked in right now. This is the Wheel1 Podcast. You know what I'm saying? It's the Master Twice, and we locked in. We back. We told you we coming back for part 2, and now we back with my homie Ben. You know what I'm saying? We doing this part 2 for this podcast. And, we going to pick up right where we left off. You know what I'm saying? First off, how you doing today? You know what I'm saying? It's a new day. How you doing, fam?
Yeah, I'm blessed, man. It's been a long week, man. It's been a long week just handling a few things, but you already know what it is, man.
Yeah, I'm saying we got to get through it some way, somehow.
Dope.
So, we're going to pick up right where we left off. So, let me know about, the mental health aspect, of going through a spinal cord injury on, the day, a daily basis. You know what I'm saying?
To be honest, you got to be in it to know exactly what the fuck's going on. Especially the first stage when you get out of the hospital. Then you go to the rehab and you're trying to figure out a whole bunch of other shit. First of all, on top of what you're going through, you're trying to figure out how people perceive you. It gets to a point where you feel like, when you get that moment to yourself, you feel alone in so much ways, and a lot of people doesn't really understand what you're going through, and you really can't talk to anyone that can relate to your situation, So it gets difficult at times, but over time things does get better. It depends on who you are as a person prior to your injury. And sometimes a lot of people have some kind of negative setback. Like often people will look at the negative side of things before they try to find solution to what they're going through.
I think that'd be less most people, though, if you really think about it. Because, most people, when they go through life, they don't go through such hardships and think of immediately the positive aspect of it. It's we lose things and we think about how hard it was that we lost it. You know what I'm saying? I don't think most people really connect back to turn the negative into a positive, especially when it's such a deep negative situation. You know what I'm saying?
That's true, because in so much ways, often for me when shit happened, I've been through a lot of shit. To be honest, my life is like a roller coaster. One day, is this, another day is that. So always you're waiting to see what the fuck is gonna happen next. So for me, when my accident happened, when I came, literally they had to wait in Ghana, like I said, for 2 weeks before they flew me to France to do the surgery. From France, I'm there for a whole fucking month. Don't know what the fuck is going on. Then I come back to Canada. I have to stay in the hospital for another 2 months until I'm stable enough to go to rehab. You're thinking, you're getting ready, to get some movement back, start. Yeah. Then they hit you and say, you're paralyzed from your neck down. Then you're trying to assess, okay, like we talked about, so I'm hoping that, hey, I can use my hands and do this and this and that. And get to a point they tell you, you can't move your hand, you can't feel this, you can't do this. And it hits you, but you don't really take it in until you just realize you get that moment to yourself. It's like, bro, I'm fucked.
Yeah.
I
mean, that's the thing. You think everything's it sounds bad to say this, you think everything's gonna be great as you go through it until you really realize and you really gotta connect to the situation and you're like, whoa, I'm really in a fucked situation right now. You know what I'm saying? And once, I think that's the big part is once you kind of realize that and identify it is when you find it's when you start seeing the light, you know what I'm saying, where you start seeing the positive aspects of it, because you're fuck, if this is it, you know what I'm saying, how can I make the best of this? You know what I'm saying?
True. And for me, a lot of people see me and they're like, this nigga doesn't look like he's in a wheelchair.
Yeah, facts.
There's so much things that he's doing. He looks so presentable. He's doing this. It doesn't even see. But then people don't know all the other shit that you go through. For me, I'm a person that I always put it in that way. I will never let anybody see me down. I'll show them that, hey, I'm a lot better than what you think I am. So, but there are some times that you have that moment to yourself. You're like, realistically, you are in the corner. and it gets to a point that you have to fight that battle within yourself first before you allow people in. Because if you're not comfortable with yourself, it's really hard to actually let people in to actually give you the hand that you need.
Yeah.
You know?
I think that's the big thing, like, you know, about like the power in being vulnerable is like, you know, once you kind of let that go, that vulnerability go, and like, you know, you're able to like let other people in.
Exactly.
I think that's a big thing, because, you know, that kind of like leads into like my next question I was going to ask you, fam, was this real talk, was this like, how with your mental health, how does it help you? Like, because like, you know, I know a little bit about it with having a spinal cord injury, but like with your daily mental health, because like I know how daily routines could be, you know what I'm saying?
Oof.
How does that feel mentally, knowing that you got to have someone daily helping you out just to live? Like, you know what I'm saying?
It's uncomfortable. It's uncomfortable, and like literally I talk about this with a bunch of PSW workers. One of the things I do on the side is train PSW across the board on how to address or talk to or assist individuals with spinal cord injury. And on a daily, it's a lot of things that you go through to even get up today. Like, to even get in your wheelchair, somebody has to come and assist you getting you out of bed. Somebody has to come and assist you even how to pee and do all this.
Yeah.
So it's not comfortable because all your independence is taken away from you. And they get to a point that you have to be humble enough and say, hey, okay, I need this service. Although I don't want it, but I need it. I need to rely on someone to provide these kind of service for me. And sometimes if you don't humble yourself, you will be like, you will be stuck in bed for the whole day or so. So sometimes it gets to a point where you have to get to a realization that, hey, okay, my life has changed. There's a lot of things that your body's going to go through that people will never understand. And it gets to a point that you have to be prepared to actually handle some of these things. Like when you talk about automatic dysreflexia, which I'm not sure a lot of people know about.
I hate DA, bro. I feel like I'm going through it right now. Like, I'm sweating, getting the dog nose and everything.
Yo, your body goes through some serious shock when there's something happening to your body that you can't really feel, and you're trying to find solution to it. Where you get migraines, your body starts sweating one side of your face. You feel like somebody's hitting you with like a bunch of pins and needles, and all that happens on a daily basis. But often a lot of people don't know about it until you break it down and let them know. But for me, I'm a person that I've always been in a situation where, hey, shit will go away, just a matter of time and just working through it. And these are some of the things that will never go away, but it takes a lot of time and years for you to really grab a hold of it and actually just brace yourself and say, hey, okay, this is going to be a daily thing or a monthly, or this is going to be part of my life, and you got to be able to accept it to actually be able to look forward to other things.
Yeah, I think like that's like the big part. I think is like the acceptance of it, because like, you know, even for me, like even though it wasn't as like a long, like, you know, for a shorter period of time, it was hard for me to accept like having someone to come in, like you said, and do little things like help me pee. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like it's 4 o'clock in the morning, and I got a nurse, you know, so mainly female, sometimes male. You know what I'm saying? That's how real shit can get. This is the Wheel1 Podcast. We keep it real out here. It gets
uncomfortable though.
And you have to have a man, you know what I'm saying, help you pee. But at the end of the day, it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? Right now, I gotta help my nigga right now. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, let's get this
for the people
right,
who can't see this, like, you know, on the, you know, people can't see this on the Spotify feeds, or, you know, wherever you reading this, wherever you hearing this, I should say. You know, I gotta help my homie out right here, because like that's how real it is out here. Because like once you, like, people gotta understand that once you gotta let that vulnerability go of going through things like that, and it's just like, I feel like it humbles you in another way, and it allows you to like open up to other people in ways like this, where we're sharing our stories, and these are given that like it's given more of a understanding to someone who's like you said, who could never relate
Mm-hmm.
because they don't know what's going on. And if we don't talk about it, how are they supposed to know?
That's true. That's true. And so much is often, wow.
Oh man, we got this. We're getting a constant mic situation going on here, guys. But you know, we're working on it. We're getting through it.
Mm-hmm.
All right. You know, now I got one question I gotta ask you because, you know, as a Wheel1 myself, you know, like you are, you know, I got a question that always gets asked to me by a lot of people. You know what I'm saying? This is one of those ones I gotta tell you. I gotta put you on the spot for this one now.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Let's go.
Now, a constant question I always get asked as a male in a wheelchair is, can you still have sex? Ben, tell the people right now the right answer.
I can still get it up, man.
Okay.
It is what it is, man.
Okay.
I can still, well, sex is a touchy topic, but at the same time, you can still have sex, but the feeling might be, it's a
little different.
It's a little different. You got to go around it a little bit. You got to make sure, like, I think last time I spoke to you about something, you're like, yo, you might have to hop on that Cialis a bit, but
yeah,
I haven't hopped on it yet, but I'm gonna be real. Every time that I've had sex since my disability, I haven't used any Cialis yet. But you could get hard. You will last naturally. Well, obviously, it takes a lot of brain power to actually stimulate everything. But for me, since obviously there's a higher disconnect with my injury where my body's not sending the signal to lift on my hands or to do this, to that. So when it gets to that point, I think in so much ways I can still have sex. I do have sex. I don't stand up for that long when you start, but hey,
it's all you gotta work it back in. You know what I'm saying? It's just like any other muscle.
Exactly, you gotta work it back in. It's not like back in the days where I'd be fucking hours and having my African mojos going like that. But it's different. You gotta be patient. You gotta work around it, and yeah, man. It's possible. It's possible. People ask, can you still have kids? You can have kids.
Facts.
You can. You can do everything. It's just a matter of, just kind of going around it. It's like that's the whole thing about disability. It's like, there is a lot of things that you could do, but you just need to just tweak it a little bit. It might not be the same as every regular person, but it's just a matter of just tweaking and adding and being open to different things.
Yeah.
You have to be open to different things. You can't. It's not like back then where you could do this on your own. A lot of independence is taken away from you.
Exactly.
Even for me, if I have to just lie down and let whoever it is, ride me, okay, cool. I always look at it and say, hey. Before, I was the one that was more aggressive, so it's like, God said, let me humble this nigga down.
Yeah, you gotta switch it up, You know what I'm saying? You gotta switch it up, different style.
Let me cool him down and let somebody, take over. It's not like one of those you just picking up a girl and fucking them. Like,
Yeah, trust me. I know the feeling. You know what I'm saying? There's certain times where, I'm like, if she only knew back in the day what I would be doing to her, you know what I'm saying? But
you gotta just
you adapt and adjust. I think that's the big thing about it.
Your ego has to be, throw that shit out of the window and say, it's a different world now, man. It's a different world. So.
I think, that's the big thing about it. Like, I think that's the one thing about trauma in general, is I feel like it should humble us enough to us to adapt and adjust to whatever situation is. You know what I'm saying? Because I feel like a lot of the times, since we don't identify that trauma, because like with me and you, our trauma is identified because we have to go through it on a daily basis physically. You know what I'm saying?
Physically, emotionally, and man, it's just every day you have to deal with multiple people in your space. And because you can't do certain things for yourself and having to rely on other people to accomplish those tasks for you, it's mind-boggling. It's like literally your mind is like, you're literally today, anytime that I have a PSW providing service, I literally will close my eyes. I just imagine like as if I'm not in that space. But also you got to direct your care, and directing your care is like basically having control of what kind of service you receive, how the service could be received. Because sometimes people come to you, they have no clue what they're doing, and you have to talk them through like as if you're training somebody, giving orientation at all time. So sometimes one of those, you got to humble yourself, be prepared, and always, always make sure that you are in control of the kind of care that you receive. And you do get some PSW who don't want to do shit. They're coming there for the paycheck, and you do get some of those people that is pleasant, that want to come and do their job. So, it's a matter of just basically being prepared and actually knowing exactly what you need, and also just directing. It's like that's the only way you could go about things, man.
Yeah, I mean that's a big thing. Like I always say in general in life, communication is key. Like what I'm saying?
Communication is a must, man.
And
knowing how to communicate with a person, and not taking things personal at times, because a lot of people might take shit personal the way you speak to them.
Yeah, I mean that's all about communication too, because like sometimes you got to communicate how you are as a person, so that once you communicate certain things, that they don't take it personally, because I'm not, maybe this is like not how I feel towards you, but like this is just my tone for the day. And
exactly.
If you know me, that you know that I have days where this is just my tone. Don't take this personally, but when I say things and it's just a straight tone, like this is just how I'm feeling.
And just speaking of tone of voice, like really, sometimes it gets to a point that a person comes to you early in the morning trying to get you up. Your body is not ready yet. A person with spinal cord injury, your body gets a sense of, like a shock.
Yeah.
Anytime you wake up.
Oh yeah, I know that.
You really don't want to do anything. You want to just relax, just wait, brace yourself for a little bit before you can actually start to move, or they can turn you to do this and this for you. But it gets to that point, they're like, yo, I really don't want to do nothing. Can you give me a second? Then some PSW look at the time and say, hey, you got so and so and so. So everything is based on timing, and that's one of the situation where it kind of gets in a way of you actually wanting to actually get up when you want to, or just have the ability to say, hey, okay, let me chill in bed for a little bit. Because as soon as you miss that booking, you might not get that booking maybe until like 4 or 5 hours later.
And then you're just stuck in bed the whole time.
Stuck in bed. So having your independence taken away from you, it's like, man, it's hard. It's hard, but you basically have to find a way around it, and basically just know exactly what you need and what time. And even if you have some time later, just try to work on it, because, man, independency is one of the most important things that anybody will want to have, but having that taken away from you is one of those hardest things, especially dealing with a disability too as well.
Yeah. Like I think that's a big thing, because like you just said, like independency is a big thing for like anybody. Period,
anybody, man.
Because like who doesn't want to be independent? Like step out and do whatever they want on whenever they want. And for a person that like been through similar situations like you, where it's like you get your independence taken away from you, it's like it makes you very vulnerable. It's like it's like if I was ever somewhere and I wasn't in my wheelchair, I feel away. Because I can't move around when I want to move around, and you know what I'm saying? And I feel like most people don't really understand that part, like, and in general, just being vulnerable, because that's just me in a physical sense. But then sometimes people feel very vulnerable in a mental, emotional senses, like, and they don't know how to connect to that because they can't even identify that,
Exactly.
With the trigger to that.
Like, there's been time, like, I literally, obviously, I'm paralyzed from my neck down, but I'm able to lift my left hand and just drive my chair according to. But it's been time that literally I'll go to a store and I'm literally standing outside the door hoping that somebody pass by to open the door for me, because the people in the store might not be able to open it. And literally multiple people will come, excuse me, miss, excuse me, sir, can you? And people will just literally pass by you and don't give a damn. But at the same time, you look at it and say, is they right, whether or not if they want to help you or not. So it gets to a point that some of those things will like gets frustrating.
Yeah.
Then I think one time I literally went to Subway and I tried to. It was I think they had the coupons on some shit. So yo, let me get some Subway. I haven't had some Subways in a minute. So I go outside the door. Then the guy comes. Somebody calls the guy. The guy comes and say, "Hey, I want to order this and this and that. Can you open my pouch? Don't worry, I'm giving you permission." The guy's like, "Bro, I can't go in your wallet." I'm like, "Yo, just take my wallet. Just take the cash. I'm watching you. I'm not gonna accuse you of anything." And the guy's like, "Yo, literally, if you can't take it out yourself, I'm not gonna go in your wallet to assist you." But you got to look at it from both point of view.
Okay.
If he puts his hand in there, and I'm a person that I have like memory lapse or forget about anything, then I could accuse him of stealing from me.
Oh, very true.
You
very
know?
true. Very true.
And for me, as a person, I'm like, yo, I'm only asking you to assist me. I want to purchase it. So yeah, you telling me you're not going to serve me because you can't help me? Then you can't blame the person for it. You know, it's a both ways. So it's one of those, and everybody has their own right. If they choose to help, okay. If they don't, they don't. And in those cases, like, yo, I turn back around, get a little bit emotional. You kind of feel sad that you can't do shit for yourself when it comes to those situations. So you turn back around and say, yo, it is what it is. Yo, let this shit go and don't take it personal. And those are some of the challenges. And trust me, many of these kind of shit has happened, but you get a little bit emotional about it with the lack of movements and stuff. So it kind of touches you and just bring you back to reality. You think that you're getting back to the whole norms, but at the same time, it kind of sets you back. It's like, fuck, this shit sucks.
Yeah, like, you know, I know exactly what you mean, because like I think for me, like especially in my early days, when I really felt like that was like, I would say like when I'd fall out of my chair and like, you know, I didn't know how to like really do a floor to chair transfer, and I'm like, fuck, like I'm like stuck down here, like what am I supposed to do? And it feels like, you know, like it was like that reality check, and for me, it almost brought me back to like, for me, like my accident in front of me when I got shot. It's like I remember waking up, being in the car, and like being very vulnerable, like thinking like, you know, I can't do nothing for myself at this point in time. And it's like it always kind of brought me back to that, and I hated that feeling. Like, you know, it's almost like a PTSD type thing. So it's like I can imagine how that is for like, you know, someone like you, where it's like that situation where it's like the guy says he doesn't want to serve you because, you know, he doesn't want to be liable, but at the same time, you're the big enough person to realize that he has that choice. Because even as I'm hearing the story, I'm thinking this guy's a fucking asshole. But like, you know, you're the guy to say, be like, at the same time, you have to look at it from his perspective. And I think that's the thing, a quality that a lot of more people need to adapt. Because it's like, if we do that more, then I think there would be less conflict. Because then, you know, you weren't taking it. Yes, of course, you were taking it a little bit personal. Because of course, I want to fucking eat. But like at the same time, it was like, you weren't taking it as personal to realize that, hey, maybe there's a reason why he's doing this. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like that's the deeper thinking that we all need to have sometimes.
Yeah, that's a fact, though. That's a fact. Like, you got to give them their own personal choices. And if they choose not to assist you, great. That's their own personal choice. But somebody else will come along and say, hey, I can help you. Like, you know, I've had similar situation where somebody saw me that someone didn't help me, but I waited a little bit, asked the second person, and the second person, yo, sure, bro, I'll help you do this and that. Do you need anything else? So there are a lot of good people out there that will actually want to help you, and would, like, sometimes people would just look at you and say, hey, you need some help? You know,
just off rip, just because they
off
see
like, yo, they see you, and it's like, nah, I don't need any help. I'm good, but thank you for you know, for asking, because sometimes you don't know, you know, and being disabled and like literally, I never noticed anybody in the wheelchair before.
Real talk.
Disabled.
Real talk.
And I realized, holy shit, there's like a whole community out there.
Big one.
But a whole community that are often forgotten.
Yeah.
In I feel so like much ways, forgotten on every single level, man. Like, if you talk about accommodation, if you talk about fashion, if you talk about just getting around inclusive, if you talk about housing, if there's so much, like everybody's like, yo, you're the last on every list. And when it come down to disability, everything is expensive as fuck, bro.
Yeah, yeah.
Yo,
You know, they know you need it, so of course they're gonna tax you double.
any medical shit, man, like it's crazy. Like this chair that I'm sitting on, people might think, oh, he has a cool wheelchair. Motherfucker, this shit costs like what?
What, 50 racks?
$56,000.
Yeah, they don't know. That be sitting on more than what your whips cost. Like, what's wrong with you niggas out here, bro?
And this is my second chair in 10 years. So literally
almost 110 racks in 10 years on wheelchairs.
10 years on wheelchair. And this shit don't last, man. It don't last. There's so much shit that happens to it that you have to always, like, I literally spent like $2,000 the other day on just changing my tires and shit. Maintenance. So, you know, shit gets expensive, and that's what happens when you're in a wheelchair and all these other, anything medical, like if you think about it, anything medical, anything that anybody knows that you need, they will put a price on it.
Yeah.
And
which is fucked up.
Unfortunately, the government doesn't cover everything, but you know, if you can make it happen, make it happen. I'd rather go broke and feel comfortable than, you know.
Real talk. I mean, that's what it leads down to. Like, even like you said in the part one, where people back home, they live more freely because they live life. Because like that's what you're saying right now. It's like, yo, fuck it. I'd rather go broke being comfortable than have my money.
Exactly.
And I'm not even living right. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. And people don't see it until they're in there, you know?
That's the big thing, you know?
Yeah, man.
Well, you know what I'm saying? One question I got to hit off, you know, we're going to lead a little bit off of this, like, disabled topic, but we're going to go back onto, like, in the first part one, you talked a little bit about your broski passing, you know what I'm saying?
Oof.
And, you know what I'm saying, that number 22, like, you know, how that was synonymous in your family, you know what I'm saying? So I want to learn about, like, you know, tell me a little bit about, like, what happened in that situation and, like, you know, how that just affected you going forward and even to this day.
Jeez. Anytime I think about it, I get emotional. So, because it's always your little brother that you always feel like, I wish I was there. And in so much ways, the reason why I say I wish I was there, because becoming disabled and you don't have that access to show them that kind of role model, you know, and be there for them. And in so much ways, sometimes you kind of blame yourself and say, yo, if I was there at the time or after I got into my situation, if I was able to be there for them as much as I was before my accident, I don't think that the road or the path that my brother was on would have ever happened in this kind of way, or the situation he got into. Like, literally, I get into my car accident November 10th, 2008. I was 22. My brother got shot November 10th, 2014. He was 22. So it's a crazy thing, and it's like forever you feel disappointed in yourself, but you can't really blame yourself, you know? And in life, certain shit happens, you don't have control of it, and only God knows. But hey, at the end of the day, you know, you just got to take things in stride and just try your best, you know, to, you know, do better for yourself and your family, you know. There's a lot of things that emotionally you want to hang on or hold on your own, but it gets to a point that when we talk about the mental psyches of things, like, for me, I've always found a way to deal with my own personal issues. And maybe it might not be the right approach, but I always find ways to, like, fill my mind up with work so that I don't think about those things. So
you're more like a workaholic.
But at the same time, you know, you do get that moment to yourself some days, like, you're like, shit, this is my life, eh? And when it come down to depressions and everything like that, we could go into it. I'm not afraid to really talk about certain shit like that.
You know, we keep it real on the Wheel1 Podcast. You know what I'm saying?
It gets to a point that you look at your peers and they're doing so much and achieving so much things, and sometimes you get back to yourself like, fuck, yo, I don't need to be doing this shit. I should have been here. I should have been doing this. I should have had this by now. And it gets to a point that your mind, like, you don't feel love, you don't feel wanted, you don't feel achieved. You can't really. It's a hard topic because your whole existence. What is the purpose of you? What is your purpose in life?
Yeah.
You know, you get to a point that you're trying to surround yourself with positivity. By the same time, you always get set back and say, hey, I'm nobody, you know? And often it gets to a point that you're only living simply because you don't want to disappoint your family.
See, you know? Like, I'm not gonna lie to you. Like, I kind of know what you mean, because, like, I remember there's been days, you know what I'm saying, especially, like, it's like me, I haven't lost, like, my, like, broskies or nothing like that, but, like, you know, I lost them, you know, mans are, like, just like broskies to me, you know what I'm saying, just in some violent ways, just the same way, and, like, with me having injury afterwards, like, you know, after all that happened, there's been a lot of days where I woke up just, like, it's not, like... It would be like I woke up thinking, like, I would wake up, see my chair, and then the first thing my thought would be is like, fuck, if it was this hard, I kind of wish I didn't make it.
Yeah,
because it was like I, like, you know, making it was the easy part. It was the living throughout everything after that was like, holy fuck, like, this is hard, like, you know, and it's a mental drain, physical drain, like, every type of way. And then, like, put on top of that, like you said, like, an emotional trauma from something else. It's just like where you feel like, man, maybe if I wasn't in this predicament, it would be different. Or, you know, at the same time, and, you know, I'm a firm believer of, like, you know, everything happens for a reason. You know what I'm saying?
Everything happens for a reason. That's one of those, man. And sometimes somebody really gotta put something in front of you so that you humble yourself and say, okay, oh, that's what's up, man. You know, I need to change my life in so much ways.
Yeah.
And I think some people might be thinking I'm bullshitting, but being disabled probably has been one of the greatest things that's actually happened to me.
Oh my gosh.
I say that because, like, I'm a person where I want to capitalize on every single opportunities.
Yeah.
And we could talk about some of the many opportunities that I'm taking.
Oh yeah, we can get into that.
Now. It's one of those, like, hey, at the time when I got injured, I didn't know what to expect out of life. I didn't know what I was doing. Literally, I was working at Best Buy head office, just putting in work, factory, making some money here and there. But I didn't know what's gonna happen the next day. You know, I didn't have nothing to look forward to.
Yeah.
You know, but becoming disabled and finding out all these things that I could have possibly done, or put myself in a situation where I can actually help others.
Yeah.
You know. So there's so much things that we're gonna talk about later, where there's some of the things that I've been doing that hopefully it can help other people with physical disability live a better life, look fly, receive a better services and stuff. So I feel like I'm in a space where I feel comfortable, I'm good, and I'm also looking forward to the future, because there's so much things that I would love to work on, so much things that I'm working on, and right now we just got to take it step by step and just try to accomplish some of the small little goals before, you know.
I mean, that's what it is. It's always baby steps, but it's just funny that you say that, because I'm gonna kind of touch back on it, where it's like you said, you're like, being disabled is probably like one of the greatest things ever happened to you. It was funny, a couple months ago I started thinking that exact same thought, because it's like, before I got hurt, I was working at, you know, shout out Titus Furniture, you know what I'm saying? Because, you know, Sam, he was a real one. Sam, you know, and Leonard, you know, shout out you guys if you ever see this, you know what I'm saying? But I was working over there, but really I wasn't doing nothing. Like, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Just, you know, working to pay my bills and shit. And having this injury put me in a space where it was like, all right, get the fuck out the factory, you know what I'm saying? And it gave me the time, because the recovery time, and mentally you go through everything in your head, so it gave me the time to be like, okay, what are my passions and what are some things that I want to chase and like do with myself, you know what I'm saying?
It gives you time to figure those things out.
Exactly. And I feel like that's what made it so great, because it was like, for me, I realized over time that my gift in life has been always to talk and speak, but then I realized, with me being in this chair, my words are a lot stronger. Oof. Because it's like people see my pain immediately. Yeah. So it's like, before I even say something, you kind of connect. You know what I'm saying? And then when I say something and then that connects, it makes it even stronger. So I feel like my words have become stronger, and it helped me become a stronger person in general, because it's just like, I've been through so much, and it's like, I don't know, it just became like really an ultimate blessing in disguise. Like, it's rough and you got to deal with some stuff that you kind of wish you didn't have to, but at the same time, it gave me back so much. It gave me this platform to be doing what we're doing right now.
Real one.
You know what I'm saying?
Real one.
You know what I'm saying? We out here right now just because of the spinal cord injury. You know what I'm saying? Disabilities. The we became Wheel1s like that. That's just how it works.
You got to relate in so much ways. For me, being disabled, I say it created a lot of opportunity for myself. Although there's a hard part where you're dealing with emotional trauma, how people perceive you, how public will view you when you go out there. You feel like you're being judged at all time. People look at you, you feel like you're not part of society. But aside from all that, you get back to yourself and say, hey, let me find ways around this where I can actually live a productive life and actually contribute in so much ways. And when you get into spinal cord injury or any kind of disability or any setback, you have to give yourself that time to grieve and be ready to bounce back. Everybody's time is different.
Yeah, I think that's the
time
big thing.
is different, and don't want to cut you off.
No.
I could tell you, literally, when I got into my accident in 2008, was in rehab 2009. There's many people that I've come across that are not in the same position as me, and that are still set back and is still in their house. Literally don't want to get out. Literally don't want to have nothing to do with life, and just want to go through the motion of just getting up today, go watch TV, eat, go back to sleep, and just back and forth, and don't want to really participate in anything. And sometimes it takes a lot of time out of the person to actually want to get out there. And for me, it wasn't that hard for me to actually get back, because for me, at the time I had a ex-girlfriend that was with me at the time, and she helped me tremendously get back to where I'm at. And when relationship ended, man, I was depressed. I felt like I lost, like I felt like somebody died in my family, and literally I had nothing to hold on to. And in so much ways, I think the reason why I felt like that, because I got comfortable. I got comfortable because I had somebody there that was gonna be there for me, And losing relationship, I never thought that relationship would take that kind of effect on me, because I didn't want to participate in anything. Literally, I would literally cry to myself to sleep. And the worst thing about even being disabled is like, okay, I could go back, and sometimes before anything like that, when I was at Lyndhurst, after my rehab, this and talk to family member, everything is okay. And I'll get a little bit emotional. And even when I tear up, it's more painful than ever, simply because your eyes, anything you cry, time you cry, is salt. So imagine crying and you can't wipe your eyes.
And it's just flooded.
You can't lift up your hands. Like literally right now, I could try to lift my hands, and I still can't wipe my eye.
Yeah.
So how do you cry and just, it's crazy. But like, I'll go back when my ex decided I want to end a relationship and stuff. I'm like, okay, blessed. That's what you want. Okay, cool. Although it hurts a lot, still hurts to this day. It gave me that opportunity to actually focus more on myself, focus on something that I say, hey, okay, well, let's pivot. Let's try to find something to do. You know, like from there on, I literally didn't know how to develop a website. I'm like, okay, cool. Let me start giving back in so much ways. I develop a website just by watching YouTube.
YouTube will teach you a lot.
It will teach you everything.
It taught me how to do this. Trust me.
I started volunteering in Spinal Cord Injury Ontario, doing peer support program, and with that, it gives me so much opportunity, or it actually helps me because it's more therapeutic, and also why I say that, because just hearing others going through what I had went through and actually giving them feedback and actually helping them know that, hey, life is not over, man.
Yeah.
There's so much things that you could do with yourself. Don't worry about being disabled, because the disability is sometimes something that gives you a good reason to actually want to even prove people wrong.
Yeah.
And if you're able to actually get out there, I know it's hard. Every day it's going to be challenging. And that challenge, you have to be able to fight the battle. Once you fold in, you're giving up. And if you give up on yourself, you're not only giving up on yourself, you're giving up on your family. You're giving up on people that love you, that actually want you to be here. For me, I always look at myself as the only reason why I'm here, because of the love and the support that I have from my family. I would never want to disappoint them in any kind of way, and that's why I continue to fight every single battle that I go through, and position myself to say, hey, I look at my niece and nephew and say, yo, Uncle Ben, I love them so much, although they're not my kids, but they're more than my kids. When I look at that, I look at my sister, my brothers, my dad, my cousins, everybody that supported me. It's like, hey, I can never let these guys down. And, that's how I do it,
Yeah.
And even my ex-girlfriend, when she decided, I don't want to talk too much about that part, decided to leave, I was in my feelings for like a whole year. I'm like, okay, cool. Let me try finding ways around this and try to actually focus on myself.
Yeah.
And start doing some of the things that, that I could actually do, or that I know I'm capable of. Because it got to a point that you didn't really want to do anything. When you get comfortable, you don't do a lot of shit. So when that happened, and I'm like, okay, cool. I did a website, volunteer peer support. From there on, I go to hospitals to rehab, just talk to people, just give them advice here and there. And sometimes the more you talk, people is willing to listen. It's like, oh, remember you said your words, once you're in the situation and you give feedback, a lot of people respect your words. Sometimes I'll be talking to people, they're looking at me and say, yo, you are incredible. You should be. I'm like,
I mean, no cap though.
Yeah. I'm just saying, I'm just telling you my experience and the things that I have done that you could do to be in a situation where, you could better yourself. So when I look at it, I'm like, okay, cool. So from there on, I did this, and we could talk about fashion, we could talk about some of the work that I do, and it's just it's giving me a whole new life. The life that I never had or never thought I could have. So just being able to open a company, being able to start an app, which is complete now. Hoping to launch soon.
Oh shit! So, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, if we have time,
of course, because we just about to talk about. Because I was just saying that whole new life part. It kind of leads into what I was thinking of, the last question before we wrap this all up is on the horizons. You know what I'm saying? Now that we've gone through these experiences, we talked about how we cope. You know what I'm saying? And how we've bounced back from this. But now looking forward, like you said. What's going on for Ben? Benjamin, the professional, if you want to keep it professional, like he said on the first part.
Keep it straight up, Ben, Big Ben, Prince Charming,
all that.
All that, whatever names you want to use, man.
Yeah, but going forward, let us know what's happening.
So going forward, right now, what I'm doing is I help Spinal Cord Injury Ontario. We have a division called Core Tree, where we train PSWs across Ontario on how to respond to people with physical disability like myself, but mostly people with spinal cord injuries, some of the symptoms that their body go through, some of the things that the PSW could do to assist individuals like myself, understand them, how to provide service for them. And so we do it because of the pandemic. Everything has been on Zoom. So I facilitate it from time to time, maybe twice a week or once a week or so. So it's a great opportunity to actually give back and feedback on what I've gone through and some of the things that other individuals could actually help the caregivers or even family members could actually, listen and understand that, say, hey, this is how I could care for my family member without stepping or overstepping or becoming a burden, or when you could take a step back too as well. So that's another thing they've been doing since we developed the program before the pandemic. Then the pandemic hit, so we've been training different companies and stuff once a week or once a month here and there. So that's one of the things. Another thing, everybody say you're so fly, man. So
yeah, like as you guys can't see it right now, me and Ben gonna have to take a pic and put that in the YouTube later. Right now he's fly. I think he got the off-white hoodie on, the Louis jacket.
No, don't say no names. Don't say no names.
Oh, okay, my bad.
I'm just keeping it simple, man.
My bad.
Before people think come and rob my ass.
Oh, nah. They can't do that. They can't do that to my dog.
Run them over, man.
You know what I'm saying? Facts. You ever seen a paralyzed nigga from the waist down stand up? You don't want to see that. You don't want to see that. You don't want to see that running after you at 20 miles an hour. How you gonna outrun him?
They ain't ready for that shit, man. You try to fuck with me, you see the consequences after. Nah, but I've always been like one of the fashionable guys before my injury. Love to dress and stuff. Love to party. Me and my friends, we had the Tall Boys Entertainment Group. We used to throw parties. Shout out to my niggas, Big Mike, Grims, Greg, Dre, Julius, all these guys from Tall Boys Entertainment back then. So yeah, even that, I've always been a fashionable guy. And one of the things that I've seen when I became disabled is like, wow, people in wheelchair have nowhere to shop.
Yeah.
No clothes that will fit them in any kind of way that make them look presentable or any kind of way. Everybody has to go buy some baggy joggers, anything
that
fit.
typical wheelchair look. That guy that's in the joggers and just constantly looks like he's wearing pajamas all day, every day.
Anything that will make you feel comfortable and will make it easier for PSW to put on, that's what you're supposed to wear. Mm-hmm. And that just didn't sit well with me.
Facts.
It got to a point that I had a picture that I was looking through my pictures, and I was gonna post some on my website, and I'm like, God damn, bro, who is that? I did not know who that. Like, I looked at it, I looked miserable, I looked like I don't want to have any part of life, and I was all out of place. And I'm like, yo, no, this is not. And I think that's where I changed a lot, because when I saw a picture of myself, I'm like, hey, this is not me.
Yeah.
I have to pivot. I have to really find different ways around it. So from there on, I started dressing taking more active role in my appearance. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, hey, I don't see this shit out there. I need to create a space where individuals with any kind of injury will be able to find adaptable clothes that fits and also looks presentable. And with that, it's like, I've been grinding, doing this. And the crazy thing about it, all these people that I've asked for assistance on how to get me to bring this out there, sometimes I'll ask people, we start talking as soon as I bring up the idea and tell them, hey, can you give me assistance on how you started your fashion line? And 99% of people will literally just cut off. So I can't tell you this. And sometimes people just wouldn't say anything. Wow. So I've gone through a lot of situations with my fashion line that I'm trying to start. And there's been a lot of roadblocks, but it's been time that, now I'm pivoting. I'm working with George Brown Fashion School.
Oh, okay.
To start my clothing line, which is going to be coming up soon.
Okay,
Just
we'll
work
be
in
on the look for
progress.
that. Be on
Work
the
in
look for
progress.
that.
I think I gave one of the samples to you.
Oh yeah, you did. You did. Low
so-
key. It's on my bed right now. I wore it out to the point where I put holes in the bitch because I was wearing that shit every day. It was hella comfy. It was hella swaggy. You know what I'm saying?
NFT. You better hold on to that shit.
You know what I'm saying? That's a classic. I got one of the originals.
The original, one of the first ever ones. So yeah. So I've been working with George Brown Fashion School, George Brown Fashion Exchange, and we are developing some things. And hopefully, in the near future, you will see something out there where when you have disability, you can go there and say, "Hey, wow, I could look professional in this. I could look nice. I could, So that's one of the things that I'm working on. Did I talk about the next one?
Oh, I think what else? I think that was I think that was good right there. I think that was like most of the things we touched in on right there.
Yeah. I'll give this last info before we cut off. Creating a digital app, which I'm doing right now.
Yeah, that's the one thing we forgot about. My bad, guys. We forgot that he's making a new app coming out soon. We gotta look for that.
Oh, the app is done, bro. It just
launch time. Launch time is coming soon.
We're working on how to kick it off. So creating an app that will provide opportunities for individuals like myself to receive quality service no matter where we go in this world, man, because
worldwide, baby.
I say independent with physical disability, as soon as I get out of my apartment, I do not get any kind of service. And technically, I should never leave my apartment by myself without having a PSW with me. But as a stubborn guy and independent guy, I'm like, I don't need nobody to take along with me, man.
You know what I'm saying? You got to do what you got to do sometimes.
If you want to go on vacation, it's hard because you have to bring a PSW with you. If you want to do anything, go to school, do this. So with that being said, like I look at that and I'm like, when we talk about me capitalizing on every single opportunities where there's no opportunity and creating for others, I'm like, yo, let me come up with some shit where, people don't have to feel stranded, having to stay at home 24/7 because when they go out, they can't receive certain things and
they become hermits that way.
Yeah, so working on a digital app that individual could access some service wherever they go. That's something that I've been doing that for quite some time. So we're about to launch soon, so look forward for that. Or accessibility. Ready for that shit, man.
Yeah, that's gonna be big. That's gonna be big, you know what I'm saying, for my peoples. Because, like, even a man like me, even though I don't need the PSW support, it's just like, I'm always thinking about the travel and accommodations and shit because I need accommodations myself. And, like, that's always annoying. But so, my homie Ben right here got some big things coming, as you see, for peoples in our disabled community circles. But in general, though, for the able-bodied people, check out the clothing brand when it drops too. You know what I'm saying? He got the fresh shit for you too. Don't get it misconstrued now. You know what I'm saying? We inclusive.
Inclusive, man. That's a key word, man. Inclusive, man. People gotta pay attention and say, hey, these guys are part of the society, man. Let's include them into everything that we do because often we're forgotten.
Yeah.
We're forgotten, and it takes time for people to notice exactly some of the gray areas, and if you're able to actually capitalize on that opportunity and just make something out that people could utilize, it goes a long way, man.
Exactly. And that's what we doing right here. You know what I'm saying? And as we wrap it up on the Wheel1 Podcast, that's exactly what we doing right here. We making something out of nothing. We turning a negative into a positive.
Yup.
And this is real people telling real stories.
No hold back, man. No hold back.
All right, we gonna see you guys again. We might have Ben as a regular guest. He might just pop up every once in a while saying what's new. You know what I'm saying?
Just give me a shout out. I'm here whenever. You can hit me up wherever any of my platforms. Just hit me up and
plug yourself right now, Ben, for the people that want to find out more about you. Plug yourself right now.
So you can always get me out, Benjamin Ken at. Actually, not benjaminken.ca, which is the website. If you want to find me on Instagram, Mr. is Mr.B.King. So Mr.B.King. So you can always find me up. I'm open to anything. If you want to shout out, if you have questions, please just give me that shout out, man.
Yeah, you already know what time it is. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? This is the Wheel1 Podcast. Real people telling real stories.
All right. Bless
All right,
up.
we up.
Mm-hmm.